Welcome to the Money Watch Show. It's Thursday, September 19th. And the Fed. That's all I can say. The Fed, they did it. So you got your rate cut. It's the beginning of a process. And if you want to really be predictive about it, I'm guessing that the Fed's going to just keep on going until they get to around 3% in the Fed funds rate. All of that being said, it really depends on what is going on in the economy. I'm bringing my co-host in, Mark Talercio. Mark, a Fed meeting, a rate cut. I know this is all about you. So you just tell me. Are you feeling excited about this?
A new cycle. Yes, very excited.
All right. I know. I am happy about this because I do believe that we are absolutely in a position where we can kind of see what the trend will be. We don't know how fast it'll be. I was on the Compound and Friends a couple of weeks ago, and I was with a strategist. And one of the things that he said, and it's really stuck with me since then, is that it's not going to be surprising when the Fed starts cutting. What may surprise people is that they'll go faster than you think.
Are we just to assume now that at every meeting going forward for the foreseeable future, there's going to be a cut?
Well, I don't think that that's the smartest conclusion, because I think that the Fed is going to probably run into a period where they're like, oh, we're not going to cut at this meeting, or they'll go by a half a point some meetings and maybe no. I really do take them at their word. They're data dependent, but I just don't see that the economy just moves along, does what they want it to do. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't. That's not how the economy works. Just think back 4.5, 5 years ago. No one thought that we were going to go from like 1.5 to 0 because there would be a global pandemic. I'm not saying we're going to have a global pandemic, gang. I'm just saying that it's usually never so pat as, just the way you think it's going to happen. I don't see that. Anyway, it's exciting. Next Fed meeting, November. Do you know what is weird? So I had booked a trip because I thought, it's going to be so exhausting leading up to the election. I completely missed that the Fed is meeting 2 days after the election. That's insane. I don't think that's a smart thing. They should have pushed it by a week, but so be it.
Why are they skipped in October? They got to get ready for Halloween? What are they doing?
No, it's every 8 weeks. It's 8 weeks. So it's always an 8-week cycle. I don't know. All right. Anyway, let's go and take some questions, man. Okay. This is from Ian, who, oh, by the way, if you want to come on the program and you want to just ask us a question and you're shy, you can always just send us an email. Go to JillOnMoney.com, click the contact us button, send us that note. And if you want to appear live, Mark will do everything else if you just click the little box. Ian has a subject line that I love. You ready? Too many life goals need help! ! All right. So here's what Ian writes. I'm a fan of the show and your segments on CBS. I watched CBS for a while, and then I learned about your show, and I began listening earlier this year. How much fun is that, Mark? Doing a little discovery via the broadcast network. Thank you. All right. So Ian goes on. He says, I'm hoping I can get some advice about my financial questions that are causing me analysis paralysis. Oh, we've seen this condition before, my friend. Don't worry, Ian. You're not alone. I recently began going down the route of acquiring the services of a financial advisor, but I decided against it as I'm not sure I have enough assets to justify the hefty cost. Despite that, I still need a solid plan beyond my current expertise. And here's my situation. I'm turning 40 this month and a new federal government employee as of earlier this year. I earn a gross salary of $124,000, and that is comprised of around $81,000 in government salary, $44,000 from VA. And the VA income is tax-free. I didn't know that, Mark. That makes a lot of sense, though, doesn't it? Okay, debt-free, no mortgage, no credit card debt. 23,000 grand in savings. That's 5 months of living expenses. Okay, so here are the life of goals that Ian has. Want to save for a home or a condo, save for retirement, and then pie in the sky dream is a second home for retirement. And so we've got $900 in a Roth, $10,000 in a thrift savings plan, which is all in the C fund. It's the stock plan. Want to save. Oh, one more thing. Just want to also save for a current, for another car. So here's the thing. Do I have too many goals? No, there's not too many goals. It's just that they have different time horizons. So Mark, here are the few goals. So he's got in his emergency reserve fund of 23.5. That's about 5 months of living expenses. So I would say we got to beef that up a little bit. I would just, I know he's a government guy, but I would probably just have more like 30 grand in there. That's what I would do first. So I think about goals sometimes in time horizon, is replacing the car, because you got to do that. Listen to this, though, Mark. He puts us to shame. 2009 Toyota Camry has 148,000 miles. He only drives 5,000 miles a year. Okay, so we got to save for retirement, save for a home, save for a car, and save for your pie in the sky. So, Mark, what do you think? I think the thrift savings plan, it sounds to me like that should be sort of the North Star. We're, of course, going to do that. How much of his salary do you think he should put into the thrift savings plan?
I mean, he's making a pretty good salary. I'm assuming it's just him, and he's on his own. Does he say exactly what he spends every month?
No, but he says, well, wait a second. He said that $23,000 is 5 months of living expenses.
Okay, so maybe $5,000 a month he's spending. So yeah, I mean, I would love to increase those TSP contributions.
So what I think the TSP should be at least 10%. At least, and maybe 15%. What do you think? And also, isn't there a Roth TSP? So I would do all of my, because again, he's only get taxable income of 81. I would definitely do a Roth TSP. I'd put 15% in there. That's number one. Next, once you do, and you got to do your cash flow. I make sure you can do this. Next, you got to set aside some money for this car. You really do, because that's going to be. So let's say it's 3 years. Who knows? I don't know. Toyota Camrys probably could last for 40 years for all I know. But I would do some money in there, and that's fine. I would put the whole saving for a home. I don't know why. I mean, who cares? Do you have to have a home? It sounds like you're just you. Do you think we could convince him not to buy a house?
Well, the fact that he wants a second home in 20 years, I don't know if you're going to convince him not to buy that first home.
Well, so then what if you had it? Let's think of it this way. I'm going to guess that if we could just make a 15% contribution on the 81, and then you take the other money that he's getting, which is the VA disability that's tax free, maybe what we do is we use that to fund everything else. And that would just be a brokerage account, though. I don't know, like, would you save for the car in a money market, thinking more like a couple of years, or would you save it in a brokerage account, Mark?
Well, I'd love to know the answer in terms of how many years it's going to be. If it's 2 to 3 years, I would just put it in cash. But, if he thinks, okay, 5 to 6 years, then I would probably put it in the market. Yeah,
me too. I would just have like a nice balance fund. So I think for you, Ian, you don't have too many goals. It's just that you're not going to I'm putting the whole second home in the back burner for now. I think 15% in a Roth TSP. Any extra money that you have from that VA disability, if you think it's more like 2 years for the car, put it in a money market. Otherwise, let's open up a brokerage account. And in that account, what you're going to do is you're going to put all excess monies that you're not spending, and that's going to be like a slush fund for the car, for the home down payment, which may or may not happen, for the second home. It's all going to go in there. And presuming that you're a federal government employee, you also are going to be lucky enough because you're going to probably have a pension, but you're new, so you got to stick around for a while. So it's not pie in the sky to have dreams or goals, and there aren't too many. But when you're thinking about this, gang, you hear us talk about it. I think of the near term, the intermediate term, which is within 2 years. Then I think of the intermediate, which is more like 2 to 5 or 6. And then longer term is like 10 years and beyond. So that's how I would look at it. All right. So I hope that helps, Ian. You're very sweet. Our next email is a great question. You ready? Am I in too good of a position for retirement?
No such thing.
No such thing is right. Okay. So this is from Keith, who says, we recently had a newborn, evaluating if I'm missing something. Please let me know if you have any questions. Okay. I love your show, and my 2-year-old son and I listen to you every day on the way to daycare. He loves saying Jill on money, not joking. By the way, I would like that as a recording. I think that'll be the new intro to the show. Maybe we should have our listeners do the intro of the show, Mark. That would be kind of fun. But I definitely want the 2-year-old saying it. All right. Let's keep going. Keith says, I have been following personal finance for over 2 decades, but I believe my situation may be a little more unique and not talked about too much. I am married. I'm 48 years old. My wife is 44. We have 2 young kids, a 2-year-old and a newborn. We've been saving since our early 20s, and we have a combined net worth of slightly over, get this, Mark, in their 40s, $2.8 million. Oof. So here's the unique situation. I have an ESOP, that's an employee stock ownership plan, and it has been very lucrative, especially recently. And this, with the combination of already having so much of my net worth, doing the math, I'm wondering, should we pause the brakes when it comes to savings? A little tap of the brakes. Honestly, I'm not sure I could actually do that, but the math seems to tell me that, since I'm not planning to leave a huge inheritance to my family, that maybe I should. Okay, so he says, looking objectively, I'm thinking we might not have enough life insurance. We have too much in one single stock, Tesla, not enough in Roth, but I would appreciate your insight. We have low-cost index funds for overall portfolio investing, but Tesla was my one play stock that made a fortune on, and emotionally not sure I could sell it. I like that he actually says that. All right, so here's what they have. They have income of $220,000. He makes the lion's share of that. His wife makes 50 to 60 of that. He's got these 2 kids. Longevity in both families. Home is worth $600,000. 30-year fixed rate mortgage. Mark, don't have a little envious fit. 2.25%.
4 full percentage points lower than mine.
God. Stable careers. Strong employee stock ownership plan. Okay, so current ESOP balance is just under $500,000. The company contributes 10% of my salary. It's amazing. And liquid cash, $50,000. Okay, so question is, does he not have enough life insurance? They have $400,000 of term on her, $450,000 on him. That would pay off our home. It wouldn't leave anything else. He wants to know a recommendation about life insurance. What do you think, Mark?
I would look at getting more.
I would too.
They're young enough.
Yeah, and they're young and you're healthy, so I would get $1 million of. He's got $250,000 of term privately and $200,000 with his employer. I would have $1 million, absolutely, and I would have $1 million on her. By the way, because if she, God forbid, were to drop dead, who's taking care of these kids? Either you're not going to work as much, or you're going to have to hire somebody. So I'd have $1 million of each extra. Okay, too much money in Tesla, 14.5% of net worth. I mean, what am I going to say? You already said that you're not going to sell it. So I got to start to tell you to sell it. Not enough Roth. This is interesting to me. They have this ESOP plan, which is $500,000. They have, it's wild. Their Tesla position is $400,000. Their Roth money is only about 6%. Are they contributing too much? Did he ever say what his 401k value was, Mark? I'm reading through here. I'm not sure he gave that to us. I think I have to impute it. Okay, so he has a Roth 401k, and she has a solo 401k. All right, let me give you so first of all, definitely not enough life insurance, and make sure you do your estate planning. Number 2, you know that you have too much in Tesla. So why can't you just pull it back? Even if you took some, you peeled off some of it and said, I'm going to take $100,000. What I would do is I would probably take whatever I have in Tesla. Maybe he didn't even mention that he had 529 plans, but I'll tell you what I would do. I would sell $100,000 of Tesla, pay the tax that's due, and then I would take the proceeds. And this year I would put in $36,000 for each of your kids. So that's you and your wife each can do $36,000 this year, and then do it again next year. And now I've just used your Tesla stock to be much more tax efficient and put money away for your kids for college. And then if you don't want to save so much in your actual retirement accounts, then open a brokerage account and just add more money there. I don't see the downside of that. Are you seeing, Mark, that there is too much of a retirement contribution here?
No, not at all. I mean,
I don't either.
I also don't believe in, I know he keeps saying net worth, but just like forget about the house because like, you got to live somewhere. So if you sell the house, whatever, just eliminate that from the equation. Yeah, you didn't even mention anything about 529 plans. You got these 2 young kids. So no, I don't think you're in a position to just stop saving.
Yeah. So I'd love to hear more from this dude because I feel very strongly that we don't have the full picture, but I have part of it and I like it. I like what you've told us so far, but I really think that you would be better off coming on the air and walking us through what you're thinking.
I think if I'm doing it right, I think there's like $1 million in retirement accounts somewhere.
Which is good.
That he hasn't. Yeah, which is great. Sure.
It's good, but it's not like everything. And he also didn't say like how long he wants to work and what, you know what I mean? Like
what they're spending.
I think that there's part of this is like you get really tantalized by that ESOP. And you've had this great payoff with Tesla stock. It's awesome. Like, take some money off the table. Like, I don't understand you guys. You guys like to have just like things sitting on your balance sheet and don't use them for your real life. It's in crazy making.
I mean, I would cash that Tesla out, and college is essentially
done.
It's almost by the time if you put that in 529s right now and just let it grow for the next decade plus, college is done. And then just keep with your regular savings and you'll be good.
Yeah. And it's funny. He could take half of this Tesla position down, half of it, right? So now it's only 7.5%, right? Take it down, pay the tax that's due, front load your 529 plans, and you are done with college essentially. It'd be so great. Anyway, I want Keith to come back on the air with us, don't you? I really.
I tried to get him. I tried.
Oh, darn it! All right. Well, anyway, maybe he'll hear this and he'll be excited. Don't forget to tell him we changed his name. So there you go. Hey, if you guys are listening to this and you're like, I don't have that kind of money. I understand you don't have that kind of money. You don't have to. Come on and tell us about your story. Okay, just go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, write us a note, check the box so that you can come on the air live. We'd love to have you. Don't forget, all of our content lives on that website. It is so easy to navigate. JillOnMoney.com. There is another podcast. There is a blog. There's a radio show. There's our YouTube show called Jill on Money, powered by The Compound. And the guy you've been hearing, he's Mark Talercio. He's the co-host. He's the executive producer. He's the king of all things web. He creates our free weekly newsletter, which you should sign up for. I'm going to make editor part of your job description, Mark. We're distributed by Paramount Global. We drop our episodes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So that's a fun thing. Try to lift someone up. Change your work. Change your wealth. Change your life. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.
Paramount Podcasts.